I think sometimes when we're talking about big picture questions like dreams, your purpose, we can get really Hey, it's Chris. Welcome to your reading. Just clearing out the energy of the space sonically. I'm into that these days. So today's question was requested on my Instagram stories. Feel free to send me any ideas you have because I am so open to experimenting with different questions. Today we're asking, how do I know which dream to follow? Because that could be a tricky question. If you find it difficult to connect to your intuition, or you have a lot of pressure from external sources, pressure from within yourself, trying to get you to go in a certain direction, what it is that you really want to choose, what dream you really want to follow can get clouded. So we're going to get some clarity on that. So starting out, this is interesting. I love that we're talking about dreams and like what to follow, and all I pulled was wands, and wands are all about like motivation, inspiration. It's fire energy. So this is cool. So first I pulled out the Two of Wands. Then we have the Knight of Wands. And then I have the Ten of Wands in reverse. So immediately the first thing that's jumping out to me, when Ten of Wands is in the upright, this is my classic, like, you're doing too much card. This is classic, like, you're putting in so much effort, you're breaking your back, and for what? Like, it's not worth it. This is overexertion. Please take a break. In the reverse, if you are not sure which direction to follow, if you are truly rolling the boulder up the hill, I would say stop. And that is different from taking inspired action and working hard and being disciplined with yourself and creating structures to get what it is that you want. That is different. What I mean by rolling the boulder up the hill, you're rolling the boulder up the hill when it's not even something that you really want. So for example, there was a certain type of job I kept trying to apply for a few years ago, and I didn't want it. I really truly did not want to work in that type of job, but I kept applying to jobs like that because I just thought I should. And it was funny because the universe always knocks me back onto my path regardless of what I choose. So those jobs, I would get rejected for like ridiculous reasons, or I couldn't even get myself to do it. Just like weird things would happen. So when things like that start to happen, where it's just like a series of unfortunate events, that's how you know it's not really meant for you. Because rejection is protection or redirection. So if you find that you are continually being redirected in a new way and you're not listening, those signals will get progressively louder and louder. And I'm speaking from experience, where there have been times where the universe has only had to gently nudge me and I just slightly course correct. And there have been times where the universe has literally slingshot me to a different timeline because I was so off and not listening to the signs, to the synchronicities, and trusting my intuition. So that's the first thing I would say, is how sometimes, to answer the question of how do I know which dream to follow, one way to know what dream not to follow is if you are doing too much internally, where you're saying, I should want to do this because it would make me look good, or, oh, it would set me up for this, blah, blah, blah. Does this just like get you going in the morning? Is this something you literally just think about for fun because you're so passionate about it? If the answer is no, you might be in this Ten of Wands in reverse energy, where you're just really carrying the burden of a dream you don't even really seem to even want. So that's how you know what's not for you. How do we figure out what dream is for you? So with Two of Wands, Knight of Wands. With the Two of Wands, the world is your oyster. There's so much to explore. And it feels like you're early on enough in this journey that, again, as long as you follow those little nudges and course correct as you go, if you follow the breadcrumbs, so to speak, it's okay if your initial starting point, your initial decision making about the dream is a little more general, or if it shifts over time. Because this explores looking out in the horizon, deciding where they want to go next. And they could really go anywhere. It's a beautiful pivot point. It's a beautiful, beautiful pivot point. And sometimes we don't know what dream to follow because we get attached to the idea of something being so certain, so specific. And I like a twofold approach. I prefer a let's hit the target. Let's get like what's our wildest dream we could possibly think of. And then I also like to brainstorm in general, what do I want? So for example, an example of something wildly specific could be I want to win this specific thing. And then the general target could be I just want to be like have a great time. That it could be something as simple as that. I just want to have a great time. And depending on the ratio of those two energies of general versus specific that you go with, you will get a different outcome. And I will meet people who are so diehard, like you must be so specific with your manifestations. And I don't necessarily agree with that, because where's the fun in the journey? Yeah, you get your dopamine rush from every time you accomplish a goal. How do you know it's the goal you even wanted, right? That's why we're doing this tarot reading, because you don't even know. But with the Knight of Wands feels very adventurous to me. The Knight of Wands only goes after something that they're truly passionate about. And they can't fake it. They can't go on a journey just to fill the time. They're going on the journey because it inspires them. So while you're contemplating which direction to go in, really pay attention to what causes an expansive feeling, an excited feeling. It's okay if it makes you nervous, because actually physiologically, your body being excited versus nervous is kind of the same thing. It's just the mental label you attach to it. I'm not a doctor, they don't quote me on that, but you have a lot of similarities between the two. And sometimes we can say, oh, well, I'm nervous about that, I don't know. For instance, I had twice, because again, the universe is very patient with me even when I'm not listening. I had an opportunity that was presented to me back in August, and I was like, I don't know. And then I had the offer come around again in maybe late September. And by then I was like, okay, yeah, sure. And the reason why it said no, where I was hemming and hawing initially, was because it scared me, because it seemed like something that I had never done before, and I was worried I would not do a good job. That's what I was worried about. I wanted to do it, but I wanted the assurance that I would do a great job. And the truth is, you don't get that assurance that you're going to do a great job. I may do this thing and do a terrible job. I may make an absolute fool of myself. Everything might go terribly, terribly wrong, and it might be a huge waste of time. But then it's not a waste of time, because then I learned all that I learned that day. So I'm going to do it anyway, because I don't feel a no, that's not for me, in terms of It's not in alignment with my values. I was saying no because I was intimidated by what would be required of me and how I'd have to push and stretch myself. But anything that aids you in your expansion is worth the stress. I keep saying stress/stretch. It's worth the stretch. The stretching is worth it long term, as long as we don't overdo it. I want to pull some more cards. Yeah, let me pull some more cards. So that was the initial first impressions of how do we know which stream to follow. So, oh, hi. Queen of Cups in reverse. Let me get 2 more. How do I know which stream to follow? How do I know which stream to follow? 2 of Swords in reverse. How do I know which stream to follow? Okay, got a little more than 2. All right. Okay. I also pulled Death, and I also pulled the 7 of Pentacles. Cool. So let me start with the 7 of Pentacles. No, I'm sorry, 8 of Pentacles. My bad. 8 of Pentacles. Sorry, I'm tired. I just flew today. 8 of Pentacles. This shows a person diligently chipping away at something and creating a sense of mastery over time. So that's the other thing with this Knight of Wands. So the Knight of Wands isn't quite a king, isn't quite a queen, but is still quite capable, but is like, starting out in some ways. Not maybe as inexperienced as a page would be, but I'm feeling like the collective that I'm reading for this particular question is at a point where there are skills mastered. There have been lessons learned because of this diligent chipping away. And you're just going to continue to do that. So you're on the right track. If that is the way you're approaching things, where you are just trying to get a little bit better every day, that's all you need. I think sometimes when we're talking about big picture questions like dreams, your purpose, we can get really intimidated and overwhelmed because rather than allowing ourselves the grace of getting a teeny bit better, just a teeny bit better every day, even if it's just a little bit, even if it's so subtle most people couldn't notice, maybe you don't even notice, and it's really just the overarching growth that happens across time, you really can't go wrong that way. And you don't have to be an expert starting out. You become an expert by chipping away, by practicing diligently over time. And you don't need me to tell you that. You already know that. But I'm getting a feeling, because of the Queen of Cups in reverse combined with the 2 of Swords in reverse, I'm saying what I said before because I'm feeling like you're being a little bit hard on yourself. So, 2 of Swords, Queen of Cups. So Queen of Cups upright is a deeply emotionally intelligent individual, divine feminine energy. And in the reverse, this is when our emotional space can get a little tricky. It can get a little, this can be loaded, but can feel like a little bit manipulative. It can feel clouded. It can feel so lost in the sauce that we're not looking at the facts. So you feel really overwhelmed, therefore you think you're not capable, rather than noticing, I'm just feeling overwhelmed because this is new. 2 of Swords in reverse. The funny thing about this card is that there's a person holding 2 swords and is blindfolded. If they just put the swords down, they could take off the blindfold and see. Which I just think is a beautiful metaphor for most problems that we have. In the reverse, it's feeling like these limitations, and bear with me, I don't mean to offend anybody, but just bear with me for a second. The limitations that you impose upon yourself, really, really investigate them and challenge them to see if they're actually true or if they are simply a prison of your own mind, a prison of your own creation, or a prison you have seen modeled by others and have adopted it into your life. If the Queen of Cups was in the upright and Two of Swords was in the upright, I would maybe say, oh, you're weighing two options and, the difficult indecision, but you have the emotional intelligence to figure out the right decision, which is true, you do, but I don't know that you feel that way. I think sometimes we can mistake our self-limiting beliefs for actual truths, and they're not. So, for instance, that opportunity where I originally was like, I don't know. My reason for saying no when the person who gave me the opportunity kind of was like, oh, why don't you want to do it? I was like, well, I've never done it before, which is like self-limiting belief 101. Oh, you don't want to do the thing you've never done before? Of course you don't, because you've never done it before. You're scared you're going to mess it up because you haven't done it yet. And that was self-imposed. Like, this person would not have asked me multiple times to do something that I'm actually really excited about now if they didn't think I was capable. But at the time, I was really just being like, oh, I'm just being nice. Oh, blah, blah, blah. I was just saying all these things to myself. And, maybe it is true. Maybe they were just being nice. But I don't think they were just being nice. I think they genuinely felt that I would do a good job. The Death card. It's hard to let go of old versions of ourselves, but it's so necessary. So, the version of you that lacks confidence, the version of you that really questions yourself, the version of you that really doesn't have your own back, to be honest, start, if you can, it might be helpful to you to start externalizing that voice in your mind. Think of it like somebody outside of you, and think of them like sort of like a friend who you're not that close to, where this is kind of a toxic metaphor, but or a toxic analogy. It's like that shitty friend who's constantly, like, anytime you tell them something exciting that you're doing, they're like, oh, really? You're doing that? What? And they're not really your friend if they're doing that, but those people, I've had those people in my life where they're just like, they always have something negative to say, and they're sowing seeds of doubt and fear into your plans in a way that is not solution-oriented. It's one thing to bring up a genuine concern with somebody and then offer solutions. It's another thing just to be like, oh, but is that gonna make enough money? Oh, do you really think you're qualified enough to do that? Oh, do you have to go back to school to do that? Oh, just whatever. If you are around a person like that, it would probably really chip away at your confidence. So imagine if that person's living inside your own head. Oh no. So, in order to get them to not live inside our own head, what we're going to do is we're going to externalize that voice as somebody else who doesn't know what they are talking about. They are well-meaning, maybe. Well-intentioned, maybe. But they ultimately hold us back. So, this energy, we're going to transform it. We're going to leave it behind. And the way we're going to do that, we're going to harvest what we sowed. So in the beginning, when we set out on our journey, and we did a combination of big picture versus more specific intention setting and manifestation. And then we course correct as we go. We are going to be motivated by our passions and our values, what truly inspires us, not arbitrary measures or materialistic reasons that don't actually resonate with your spirit. We're going to leave behind the self-imposed overexertion for things that don't truly fulfill us. We are also going to leave behind these self-limiting beliefs, these decisions in your brain that aren't really even decisions to make. They just need to be just dropped entirely. Again, back to the Two of Swords. If this person just dropped the swords, they could take off the blindfold and see. But they don't, because they won't put the swords down. So put their swords down. Put their self-limiting beliefs down. Put them away. I don't want to see them. And then we'll transform. And I really do have so strong faith that you will do this process quite well because we have the Eight of Pentacles. You'll see it through. You'll see it through. Cool. I'm excited. I'm excited for you. Whoever you are, whoever the collective is that needed this message, thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to book a personal reading with me, that information is available below or posted wherever I post this. I would love to work with you, and thank you so much. You can follow me on TikTok, Instagram, at @_christening, and I will keep you updated with more tarot content. Thank you so much for watching. As always, take what resonates, take the guidance that helps you today, and leave the rest. Goodbye, Belle.